President Biden angry and defiant.
My memory is fine.
In a hastily called evening news conference, the president responding directly to special counsel Robert Hur's report on his handling of classified documents.
Mr. President, on the document!
That included a blistering assessment of the 81-year-old's age and what the report called his diminished faculties in advancing age. The president slamming Hur's assessment that he did not remember when his son Beau died.
How in the hell dare he raise that? I don't need anyone. I don't need anyone to remind me when he passed away.
The remarks coming hours after the special counsel said our investigation uncovered evidence that President Biden willfully retained and disclosed classified materials after his vice presidency, but said no criminal charges are warranted in this matter, adding that a jury would likely see the president as a sympathetic, well-meaning and elderly man with a poor memory.
I'm well-meaning, and I'm an elderly man, and I know what the hell I'm doing.
Moments later, the president confusing Mexico and Egypt when talking about the crisis in Gaza.
The president of Mexico, Sisi, did not want to open up the gate to allow humanitarian material to get in.
The special counsel said Mr. Biden kept documents about Afghanistan marked classified and notebooks with handwritten entries implicating intelligence sources and methods.
These assertions are not only misleading, they're just plain wrong.
Prosecutors say these photos show classified documents improperly stored in a badly damaged box near a collapsed dog crate in the president's Delaware garage. A separate special counsel is investigating former President Trump's alleged mishandling of classified information found at his Mar-a-Lago estate. Mr. Trump, who has pleaded not guilty to 40 federal criminal counts, blasting the lack of charges against President Biden, calling it a two-tiered system of justice. But the Hur report says there are clear differences, saying Mr. Biden alerted authorities about the documents and cooperated with the investigation, while Mr. Trump allegedly did the opposite, enlisting others to destroy evidence and then to lie about it. So why speak out? Late last night, White House officials, sources tell NBC News, concluded that the president needed to address the special counsel's most damning allegations head on to show his anger. They found the attacks on his memory, in the words of one source, gratuitous, and believed it was critical that the president call out what they see as purely political criticism from Hur, who they argue was concerned about potential backlash from conservatives for not charging President Biden with a crime. Savannah.
All right, Peter, thank you. When I get more on this, the fallout, the report, and President Biden's response, NBC senior Washington correspondent Hallie Jackson is with us. Hallie, as you look at this and analyze this, I mean, it's a body blow to President Biden in a place where he already was vulnerable. How damaging do you think this could be?
Well, here's another phrase for it, gut punch. That's the way that one source described it to me on the Democratic side, Savannah, to see these quotes specifically about memory, specifically about mental state of President Biden here. And that is partly because it validates in many ways, again, in the eyes of some Biden allies, the preconceived notions, the preconceived concerns that voters already have about the president. We already know that 3/4 of voters, based on our most recent poll, believe that they do have concerns about President Biden, his age, his mental fitness for the job, essentially. And what this is doing, it is going directly at that, Savannah. That is part of why you are seeing, I think, a level of concern among those in the Democratic Party about how this plays out, what the fallout could potentially be. Now, listen, there's often much said about Democratic bedwetting, if you will. I did speak with one person who said, listen, some of these concerns when it comes to November could end up being overblown. But I do think that there are those close to the president who are in that orbit who believe that this could be potentially damaging for him down the road, Savannah, partly because Republicans are not going to let go on this.
Well, if you look no further than the White House calling for a primetime news conference to address these very issues, that shows the White House considers it to be quite serious.
And so you look at the remarks overnight, Savannah, and again, very interesting here. We don't often see these sort of impromptu news conferences, if you will, from President Biden. He's not, for example, doing a traditional Super Bowl interview. We've talked about that on Sunday here. Part of this, right, is depending on how you see it, gives a sense of how you take away from the remarks, right? And by that, I mean this. Democrats will look at this and say, listen, he was emotional. He really forcefully responded to what Republicans have seized on, which is the idea that he forgot about when his own son died. You saw the president get choked up about that. You saw the president really respond there. At the same time, and this is something that those on the other side of the aisle are pointing to, he confused Mexico and Egypt when he came back to the podium, by the way, after almost walking away. And that is something that you are also seeing people talk about this morning. So it kind of depends on how you look at it.
I just have a few seconds, Hallie, but I just have to ask. I mean, listen, neither one of these candidates are young men, let's be honest, okay? And both have had senior moments. Donald Trump recently confusing Nikki Haley and Nancy Pelosi on January 6th. There have been other gaffes about, you know, we're going to start World War II and so forth. Do voters treat them equally in terms of that issue?
They don't, and we see that in the polls. Only 48, fewer than half of voters, Savannah, in our most recent poll have the same concerns about Donald Trump's age and mental fitness for the job than they do about President Biden. For whatever reason that is something that is a consternation, I think, to Democrats here as they move forward in this campaign season.
All right, Hallie Jackson, thank you very much.
Hey, thanks for watching. Don't miss the Today Show every weekday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 Pacific on our streaming channel, Today All Day. To watch, head to today.com/allday or click the link right here.